Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be starting a new episode on the project VR4 build, and we're going to be switching gears a little bit from a bunch of the work that we've been doing previously. We've just pretty much finished up the motor as well as the transmission in some of my previous videos, and now finally we are going to be moving on to paint and some body work. So let's go out to the car. I'll show you kind of the state that it's left in and kind of go over what we're going to be doing with this. This is how the car has been sitting, covered for probably the last 2 years or so. I know it looks abandoned. It's not. This car is going to be very loved when it is all set and done. But for now, what I'm going to be doing in this video is hopefully prepping this engine bay, getting this cleaned up from all this dirt and debris. We do have a little bit of surface rust. I just kind of showed some of the snippets just around like the headlight buckets, also in the corner over here in these kind of hard to reach spots. We'll see if we can get those cleaned up much better. We have a majority of probably 90% of the things out of the way for us. We just have a couple more things to remove, a couple lines here and there. We'll get these plastic trim pieces off, kind of get everything off, and then we'll work on cleaning it, and then we'll assess and see what we have and make any repairs if necessary from there. Other than playing around with a couple of the wiring harnesses for this entire huge loom that drapes over the bay and getting some of those clips out of here, we are essentially done. Other than pretty much just the tubs, we got the whole entire back section back here out, all the nuts and bolts for everything that goes everywhere, and we are now ready to start prepping this and cleaning it up a little bit better. So we're going to use just some degreaser. I have a couple of different ones. We'll just start spraying these on, brush them in, try to get this looking decent. Now on to the prep work for the bay. What we're gonna do is take a wire wheel pretty much for any of these rust spots. We'll clean up all of these. This should make quick work of them. You can see we can already clean up this area a little bit better. Definitely hit these spots right up in here. See, already getting a little bit better. Clean up some of this loose paint, and then we're just gonna take Brillo pads for the rest of this bay and just kind of go over everything, hit it, get this prepped nice and clean, so that way this will give something for that paint to stick to. Just after maybe about 2 minutes of prep work of going over this with the wire wheel, you can see our edges are definitely cleaned up. Got rid of all that brown surface rust. Everything's looking much better. And then same thing underneath. I also cleaned up this bottom side. Don't forget to do this because this can also rust down. This is actually most likely to get rusted and kind of damaged underneath here on the bottom. So don't neglect that and get your edges super well, because this is where the rust usually starts to form first. We're going to continue on with kind of everything else in the bay. I don't see a whole lot more spots, but there is quite a bit more up in this section too as well. So it seems like this section as well as the buckets seem to be the two that tend to rust the most. We're making some good progress on prepping the bay. I pretty much scotch-brighted the entire thing, went over it 2 times, cleaned it up 2 times, got all the dust and stuff off of it. What we're going to do now is we're going to spot prime a couple of these spots where we used that wire wheel to clean off some of that surface rust. So especially on these buckets, these were the main areas, and then also the spot back here by your A-pillar, kind of these sections. We're just going to hit it with some of this, a little bit of surface cleaner on our spots that we're painting. Now we can go ahead and spray our primer on. We kind of have all the sides and edges primed up, in a majority of those surface rust spots that we repaired. According to this paint, you can wet sand this right after about a half an hour. It's been about a half an hour that it's been sitting for. So we're gonna spray all this down with the hose, get all the dust off, everything like that. And then we're gonna go over this engine bay one last time before we actually put this in the booth and kind of take everything apart officially. So this will be the last cleaning. And I know I'm not really showing you guys a lot of the actual prep work for this. This is kind of repetitive, boring stuff. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do, but I'm just kind of looking forward and wanting this to be done. So I'm really just pushing through the paces and giving you guys just kind of the updates of what I'm actually doing. I am right now getting the paint stuff set up. I did purchase a painting booth, and that's what we have right here. We have a blow up booth that we purchased. I also do have a ventilation kit with hose that should hopefully help kick out the fumes. It's like a little tent that connects on the side. So let me get all this stuff set up so we can kind of take a look at our paint booth, get an idea of how it's going to fit in the shop, and we'll get with you once we kind of have things a little bit better set up, and we can go over this booth a little bit more. All right, we have the car in the makeshift paint booth that I have, my blow up booth, all set up. We're able to fit it in the shop. It is very tight around the corners, but it looks like we'll make it work. What we need to do from now is pull out the actual subframe, because I want this out of here, out of the way when we're painting it, so we can get underneath of the actual side rails on the bottom sides. We'll need to prep those sections really quickly, but I also don't want paint getting onto our beautiful restored front subframe either. The front subframe is taken out, as you can see. I prepped up all the other areas on the bottom side that the subframe was kind of in the way of, and also as well underneath the rails a little bit better. I did have to spot prime a couple more spots on the bottom side. There was just a little bit of rust down there, a little bit of surface rust that I wanted to address. So we got that taken care of. What I'm gonna start doing now is basically just cleaning everything up. Get that surface cleaner in a microfiber towel. We'll wipe everything down, get it super clean, and then we're gonna have to figure out what we're doing with all of our cables and wires. We're gonna have to get these finessed up somewhere and figure out where exactly I want to do, how I want to do my tape lines. Everything is completely cleaned up, degreased. We are set and pretty much ready to start slapping some paint down on this essentially. What we need to do first is cover everything on the car. I'm gonna make this really easy. I just bought a car cover. We'll slip this cover over the whole entire car, and then we're just gonna tape our lines off somewhere up here, and just tape everything back. The windshield, all that stuff is just gonna be taped off in there. Try and make this nice and easy. And then with all these lines, we're just gonna use probably tin foil for some of the smaller stuff, and then the bigger stuff, we'll find like a bag or some type of cover to put on. Quick update, everything is taped off, masked off, completely ready to go. It's all cleaned down. We are ready to start spraying this with some sealer. That's what we're gonna spray first. I have the hose and bags down there, stepping stool for me to get up and over into here. So now we can go start getting the paint together, and let's see what we got for that. What I have in front of us is our paint selection for all of our stuff that we got going on. We have the paint guns that we're gonna be using. I got 2 different guns. We're gonna use this one to spray the sealer, and then we'll hit it with the base coat, tri-coat, and clear coat with this gun right here that has great reviews. It's just gonna kind of be trial and error playing around with this. But the plan is we're gonna use some sealer. I got some finished one sealer. This is a 2K sealer, 2-part. So we'll mix these together. That'll be our sealer. And then moving on to the color. The color. So this is really interesting. This is actually my first time taking a look at the color that we got going. Very, very intriguing. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I wanted to do something a little bit different from what everybody else does on these cars. Specifically, I'm doing the 99 conversion on this, hopefully. I got plans to do that. Everybody wants to do these cars in red. They do look good in red, but I'm just trying to change it up a little bit from what everybody else does. And the yellows that these cars came with, the Martinique yellow, it's not the best looking of yellows. I think they could have did a lot better job, but we're gonna change it up and do something different. And what I have is, this paint is from Roberlo. I have a paint match color for a Lamborghini, and the color name is called Gallo Orion Pearl. This is from the earlier 2000 Lamborghinis. It is a tri-coat, so we do have a 2-stage. We have the pearl tri-coat that will go over top, but it's a very orangey, yellowish looking paint. This should look absolutely insane. So I'm gonna get, just check out all of our paints, make sure we got everything, and then we got to get our gun set up, and we're gonna go in the booth and hopefully start laying some stuff down. As I'm getting all my paint stuff together and ready, I just keep questioning myself, do I have everything together? Am I ready to do this? I just need to shut the hell up and do this. I need to get in the booth, lay some paint down, and force myself to move on to the next step. Let's mix up. We're gonna do the sealer first. We're only doing 1 coat of the sealer, and then the base coat, we'll probably do about 2 coats of base coat, assuming that it covers well and everything looks good. Maybe 3 if we need to do some touch-up areas. And then the plan is we're gonna do 1 to 2 coats of tri-coat, depending on kind of how it looks. I'm not too positive with that. This is only the engine bay, so I'm not sweating it if this stuff doesn't come out perfect. I just want to get some paint slapped down and kind of get an idea of what this color is going to look like and what it's going to do. And then from there, we'll probably do 2, maybe 3 coats of clear, depending on that. Just wrapped up with the painting. Everything turned out incredible. I'm about ready to go ahead and pull the booth down, and we'll kind of get a little bit of a better look of this underneath some sunlighting and kind of see what's all the pearls and metallics are in this. I'm not too big a fan of yellow colored cars, but when you have the proper amount of pearl and it's actually a decent yellow color car, you can have some awesome results out of stuff like this. So this is definitely a huge risk for going for yellow on a car like this, but I think it's gonna pay off judging by kind of just what I see right now. One more thing that we're gonna do in this video, we're gonna be painting the wheel wells. While this is still up on jack stands in the booth, we're just going to do a quick undercoat for the underside of these wheel wells so we can kind of get this area protected a little bit better from the elements. So we'll have to figure out where these tape lines are that we want to mask off in here. You can kind of vaguely see the old ones where they masked off. I have these kind of taped and masked off where I want to do my lines for this. So this is going to be kind of the section that we're gonna do. I just went to the store and picked up some Raptor rubberized undercoating. This was probably one of the better ones that I saw, and I know that Raptor makes some pretty good stuff. So this is what we're gonna use on the wheel wells. This stuff works pretty easily. Pretty much we're gonna do, it says to do 2 coats, and you wanna wait 1 to 2 minutes in between coats, which is really quick, and it dries to the touch within 30 minutes, and then full cure 4 hours. 1 can was perfect for both sides. I was able to get 2 coats on each side. That stuff sprays out really thick, and it's also really potent. I'd probably recommend wearing like a respirator while you're spraying it, but it looks like it's gonna be good stuff. This is a first look out in the sunlight, seeing what this Gallo Orion Pearl Tri-Coat Lambo paint looks like. You can now see the pearls, the metallics. I don't know how well the camera can quite pick it up. This turned out to be freaking awesome. Suspension is all back in the car. Everything is buttoned up for the most part. We're gonna be getting to doing some painting of some other parts on the car, hopefully soon enough, but that's gonna wrap up this video.